What's going on, everybody? I hope you're all well, and welcome back to Final Fantasy. We are in the land of Ash. We're going to work on getting that registry from the orphanage, and the slaver prison, I believe, was here too, so we got a lot to keep us busy here. It is freezing where I'm at right now. It is -3 degrees, so I am sitting here with some hot cocoa, desperately trying to warm my hands up. My hands are like icicles right now. But we got a Kashik to kill. Very little time, so we will press on. I believe there was some Akashic we had to kill from here. Nothing we can't handle though. We got Joshua and Torgal.
Hopefully the registry is still here.
Man, that Torgal quest was very heartwarming and touching. Actually, it reminded me of my childhood pet. A very nice touch. Torgal's the man. Man's best friend for a giant reason. Badbach Conservatory, Writ of Incorporation. The Kingdom of Waloed hereby incorporates this institution, wherein juvenile bearers are to be granted the opportunity to give themselves in service to the state as soldiers. Trainees succumbing to the crystal's curse or otherwise perishing are to be disposed of with all haste. The graveyard is strictly reserved for the uncursed. Bearer disposal within its bounds is punishable by death. Wow.
Disposed of.
They just killed them off, huh? We got anything else we can read over here? Excuse me, Toggle. Conditioning schedule. Today's exercises will consist of the press yard, 20 sandbags for such duration as instructor shall dictate. The furnace. Burn intensity to be gradually increased. Live combat. 1 to 3 hellhounds depending on performance.
Conditioning. This is nothing short of torture. Herman wasn't exaggerating. It's a wonder he survived this place. I need to find that registry.
Not only is it torture, but it's literally... It's exposing them to large degrees of the crystal curse and then just chucking their body in some shithole after. No, they're forcing them to die. I have recently learned that my own daughter was among the children turned to stone by the brutal training I subjected them to. I had not so much as thought of her since handing her over to the authorities as a babe, but inquiries within the military confirmed it. It was her. I had been torturing my own flesh and blood, and now I see her everywhere. Today, one of the children smiled at me in the hope of receiving a few scraps from my table. It was her smile. The smile she inherited from her mother, the mother I killed for giving birth to a bearer. Their ghosts have all come back to haunt me. My daughters, my wife's, all of them. All those children. So many have died at my hand. I can bear the guilt no longer. And so, I have decided. Tomorrow, I too must die. It will be the last order I give those poor wretches, the last torment I subject them to. I will command them to tear me limb from limb, and inter my accursed corpse beneath the white tree whose crooked hands reach to the sky in supplication. And beside me, my shame, my curse, the record of all their names, all those I have wronged. And not only was that piece of shit torturing and murdering kids, he tortured and murdered his own child. I see, it was completely fine by him. Everything he did, he was chilling until he found out that he did it to his own daughter. And that logic is why I always say that people... I say this as somebody who doesn't have children, by the way, but... That's why I say, and I think a lot of people say that they view things differently once they have children, because the world doesn't just become about you anymore, it's about the future for your child. And a lot of people are just incapable of empathizing with somebody else's kids until they have one of their own. And even though he did have one of his own, that piece of shit still couldn't sympathize or empathize with any of it. He got a guilty conscience from murdering his own child, after putting his wife down for the crime of just giving birth. Being a bearer is a lottery, and he killed her for it.
This must be the place.
Wow, nobody's gonna be grieving this piece of shit. Too bad he's not gonna come back as an Akasha, because I can put him down again.
There's something hidden among the roots. Let's see.
And it looks like they still did as they were told and put his body here. Even though he tortured him.
This must be the registry.
Aardbach Conservatory. Registry of Bearer Losses. 846V OAE 16D. Hans, 10 years old. Lithification. Alfred, 9 years old. Succumbed to conditioning. Franz, 12 years old. Lithification. Paulina, 10 years old. Emaciation. Wow, emaciation, huh? Bruno, 11-year-old. Disciplined for attempted flight. Johanna, 12 years old. Disciplined for attempted flight. These two got murdered for trying to flee. Reinhard, 9 years old. Succumbed to conditioning. Marta, 10 years old. Succumbed to conditioning. Lothar, 12 years old. Lithification. Dietrich, 11 years old. Emaciation. So they were starving to death and just dying to their conditions.
This place was a slaughter.
Not even just the training and the torture.
Where is the architect of all this misery?
Oh, that actually makes me quite happy.
It was only a matter of time, I suppose.
I'm so happy you're here.
This place is cursed.
May as well build the gauge, right? While we're here. Pretty sure he's dead when the animation's done, so I'll take the freeze on charge. Good riddance. So I guess being Akashic can raise the dead. That or he just didn't go through with actually dying.
I'm done here. Let's get the registry back to Herman.
Burn in hell, you piece of shit. No pity or sympathy from me. It's times like that where, as much as I've spoken about serving the last king made sense in this context, orders like that, I can't see you carrying that out, no matter the duress or threat behind it. Being willing to do that to people is insane. I would not do that to children under any circumstance. I don't care what you threaten me with. You can send me straight to the afterlife before I do some shit like that.
I need to hurry.
Imagine when a situation like that is one of those, like, yeah, I'll take the gun, I'll do whatever you ask, and then they hand it to you and you just spray it at them. That's what that is. At that point, you just take your L and get murdered. In no way you can do that to kids. And again, he murdered his own wife for the audacity of having a baby that they made together, so he wasn't exactly a striking example of a man. Just a coward who did what he was told. Hero principles. Like I said, I'm happy he's dead, and I'm glad I got to do it. Hope he was in there somewhere in his Akashic form so he could actually experience the pain of me killing him. It would have bothered me if he got out of that free of any suffering. I really don't want to deal with you. Can you just die to my ice already? Okay. The bomb enemies are so frustrating to deal with. And I really don't want to fight the Lich, so I'm gonna just bunny hop him. There we go. That is why I just use Ice Age on them whenever I see them. We peeked into this place once before the first time we came through here. Because I thought this was the way I was meant to go.
There were no guards, I take it.
None manning the gates, no. It's a different story inside, though. The corridors are crawling with Akashic. Most likely guards left behind when the Wardens ran. If Chadwick was being held here, I worry that he may already be.
Don't give up hope just yet. But let's move quickly. Let me check the ground floor. The ether's thickest there.
Then I'll search the upper level. Good luck, Sid. Stay safe.
Hey, you too. Watch yourself.
Just how bad are the floods inside the walls?
You know, considering this is a
Locked up tight.
slave prison, I do hope that the floods are in the walls, because I'd like to murder the Akashic best I can. Volunteer number one. What do we have? Balmung Dark, writ of designation. The Kingdom of Waloed hereby designates this facility a prison for the detainment of bearers, both foreign and domestic. The purpose of this facility is to rear and train a Kuza beast for deployment in the field. The aforementioned purpose is a matter of strictest secrecy, and any mention thereof is to be punishable by death. Captive bearers have been provided solely for the pursuit of the aforementioned purpose. Express permission is required for use of bearers in any other capacity. So they've been kidnapping bearers from Ash and Storm and bringing them here to feed to a monster they've been trying to train, I assume.
This was no ordinary prison. And I doubt they'll have taken the creature with them when they fled.
For sure not. I imagine that could either be another behemoth or maybe even worse, and it's definitely going to be Akashic. Well, before we fully commit to the upstairs... Actually, no, we will just commit to the upstairs. We have enemies here. I did see more Akashic down there, but we got people to slaughter up here too. You can stop casting whatever you're casting. You're right, I do need to have care.
No sign of any bearers yet. I hope you have better luck downstairs.
I want to know how you got past the Akashic to slip into that little room.
Caution, brother.
That's what I want to know.
Caution, brother.
You're just gonna tell me to be careful. She's a sneaky one. We should put her on the scout program. Wouldn't mind Gav. Darth seems worth a salt too. Just. Yeah, let's head back downstairs. I'd like for us to run into whatever Akuza is before she does. See the artificial barriers. It's the gate and then the barrels. That just bugged me in games. They could have just put a locked gate there or something. It's a prison, it makes sense. I'm gonna stop whatever you're doing. You two get all my attention. Congratulations. Recommendation concerning Kuza Beast deployment. The Kuza has long been recognized as an especially aggressive species. This being the case, it was hoped that successful deployment on the battlefield might be a means of inflicting heavy casualties on the enemy. In exercises conducted thus far, however, the beast has proven incapable of distinguishing between allied and enemy combatants. As such, deployment alongside regular troops is not recommended. It is proposed instead that bearer captives be employed in order to draw enemy focus, and the beast then driven into the fray in order to achieve maximum benefit with minimal loss of Waluda lives.
Minimal loss of Waluda lives. And what happens when they run out of bearers? Even the Imperials take better care of their branded than that.
And there you see what the actual point of this place was. They're just building cannon fodder units, basically, that can bait the Kuza into slaughtering everything, including them. Memorandum on Kuza Beast feeding. Recent supply shortages left us with insufficient resources to feed the Kuza entrusted to our care. Somehow I suspect they just fed it bearers. Fortunately, the creature was observed to kill and consume the bearers assigned to fight beside it in a mock battle conducted as part of its training. The beast was further observed to enter a state of visible contentment upon feeding in this way, suggesting that live bearers may even be its preferred source of sustenance. While this behavior is unexpected, it is not unwelcome. Bearers no longer of use for training purposes can now be repurposed as required. So if they weren't good enough for training, they just fed it to this monster.
They were feeding bearers to it. This is even worse than I'd feared. Nothing but Akashic down here. Hopefully things are looking better upstairs.
The Kingdom of
Outdoors is
Walloon.
getting on.
You know, I hated the Empire for the way that they treated their people, and Waloed is way worse. For all Barnabas's talk about how it's all just men and their mistakes and their misdeeds, look at what his kingdom was doing to men. He had the audacity to talk about the dark decisions of men and the greed of men and how that's why he has to end the world, because the way other people treat it. And look at what he was doing in Healer's prison. Fucking hypocrite.
No luck downstairs. But I did find out that this place was more than just a prison. Something far more sinister was happening here.
I know. I've been reading some of these documents and... it can't be true, can it? Bearers die every day in service of their masters, but this is so much worse. Pitting bearers against a wild beast armed with nothing but their wits? And all in order to bring about more death. And not just those who could fight, but the elderly, children even. And those who wouldn't or couldn't were disposed of. Whatever that means.
I know what that means.
It means they were fed to the monstrosity they kept here.
Then we're too late. And I was a fool to bring you here.
Don't say that. Did you find anything else?
A key. But it doesn't fit any of the locks on this floor.
Perhaps it will fit one of the doors downstairs. There's a corridor I haven't searched yet. Finish up here, then come and find me when you're ready.
All right. I'll be there in a moment.
That will either be the door we hit first, or the door directly under us. Check the one under us first, just so I don't have to run back if it's not the other door. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'll kill the Kuza just to make up for everything that happened here. Even though it's not the Kuza's fault, it's just an animal. It shouldn't have been here in the first place. That's people fucking with something they have no business fucking with. Just put it in here in a giant cell and threw people at it. Of course it ate them. It's not really its fault, but the only real thing we can do for any of those people at this point is put down the thing that killed them and... Well, I would say kill the wardens, but it seems like they all left, which means they probably turned to Kashyyyk and we already smoked them anyway, so...
Let's see what we can find down here.
I love the door animation. You know, most of that started in Lord of the Rings. I've seen so much media do that little door open animation. Aragorn does it when he goes to Rohan. The slow-mo that had all the women swooning back in the day.
A survivor. And she sounds close.
Well, that was either upstairs... Oh, that was not where you sounded like you were crying.
Who are you? There's no need to be afraid. Leave alone.
You see the Imperial brand on her face.
Like any other survivors.
But she's from Storm.
Guards. They're still here. But something's wrong with them. Everyone else was eaten by the monster.
Of course they were.
Thank the Founder.
It was worth our coming. But I'd rather we didn't linger. Are you ready?
Ready when you are. You poor thing. He must have been terrified.
Did Chadwick send you?
What?
He fought the monster. Distracted it so I could run away. He must have sent you. He promised to free the others too. Where is he? He opened your cell, didn't he? He wouldn't be here otherwise.
Chadwick.
Was that?
Monster's back! Chadwick, help!
We have to get out of here.
Doris, keep the girl safe.
All right. You put that bearer-eating bastard in the ground.
Absolutely.
It's out there waiting for me. I can't let it live.
That is a
Not if it's got a taste for bearers.
big fucker. It is a behemoth. I guess that's what they're actually called, or it looks like the same model as the behemoth we fought. You ready to do this again, Joshua? It's not the first one we fought. Well, a time like the present. Okay, let's get it.
prison. I can't let that happen.
See the flame. Okay, let me get a hang on this dude's move set for a second. Well, if shooting my beam directly into its face doesn't count as a crit spot, I don't know what does. Nice. Need some of that orichalcum. Gimme. Oh, come on now.
Finally.
I wonder if it's blue, not black,
Sid,
because
are you
it
hurt?
ate bearers. Wonder if it was getting
I'm fine,
crystal powers.
I think.
No.
What is it?
A diary. I gave it to Chadwick before we went our separate ways. He was here. Do you think that creature?
I'm sure he fought bravely to the last. The girl is safe thanks to him.
Chadwick. You fool.
Come on. We have to get her back to the hideaway. We don't want his sacrifice to have been in vain.
No. Of course not. I'll see that she's looked after from now on. It's the least I can do.
That is a fine goal.
From what I hear, you've barely left the girl's side in days. I hope she's recovering from her ordeal.
She is. Slowly but surely. She's far tougher than she looks. I thank the flames we found her. If we hadn't...
I know. But we did. I'm sorry we weren't able to save Chadwick.
There's no need to apologize. Without your help, I would never have found out what happened to him. How he fought to the bitter end to save her. To save Haida Marie. That's the man I remember. The man I thought of as a brother.
I wish I could have met him. I'd like to hear more about your past. If you don't mind, that is.
Of course. You already met my former master. She trained Chadwick.
You know, for as much as possible, deaths in a prison go like that.
And obey.
Dying to a monster that would have killed them very quickly, defending a girl, instead of starving in a cell, or
ever high enough to
all the other possibilities in there. Is a pretty good
For
death.
years, we were her daggers in the shadows. but we could never quite shake our doubts about the things she made us do. And then, one day, we just couldn't do them anymore, so we escaped. But staying together was out of the question. They would have found us too easily. After so many years of training, the pull to serve was always strong. It scared me to think he might have taken another master, become a dagger in someone else's hand.
But even in captivity, the battles he fought were his own. And he died not as someone's tool, but as a hero.
Exactly right.
Ida Marie is proof of that. Bearers can cast off their shackles. And the curse breakers will show them how. I'll fight until my dying breath to see it done. For Chadwick, and for all of us.
Thank you, Doris. We'll be counting on you.
Well, when you really think about it, all men must die, and what is a better way to go? Old age, comfy in your bed, or dying secure in a future for a little girl like that? Or for anybody, or for anything. I think most people, if you really get to brass tacks and cut through the BS, I think most people would like that. We got residual dark ether that, having failed to dissipate on the battlefield, has instead manifested into a solid form not unlike crystal, but with an elemental purity that renders it far more potent, if not highly specialized in its applications. That just gives us Gungnir cooldown, which I've messed with that ability in the Odin trial. I wish his abilities did a little more damage and they weren't just to charge Zantetsuken. But they also, it's funny because a lot of them tell you, they act as if you needed all those abilities in order to charge Zan, but I literally get it in one Dance of Steel. And I'm not buffing that. I'm buffing the will damage the Dancing Steel does, but I'm not buffing the generation it gives me at all. And it is instantly fills just from Dancing Steel. I've never had to do anything else to get it. I'm still considering dropping Lightning Rod for Judgment Bolt. It might be a good idea. I would love to use another Odin ability, to be honest with you, but since they don't actually do anything, like, that's not true, they do something. But you see, that's all, they're all zeros. None of them do anything, it's all just to charge up the Zan bar, but this already does it perfectly, so there's just no reason to ever use it. We do have a new renown reward, it looks like.
How may I help you today, Clive? Your benefactors are a generous lot.
If the drunken galley captain I shared a table with last night is to be believed, word of your exploits has made its way across the seas to the great continent. What is more, she claims there are those who would see you flourish, herself being one such woman. Gareth.
You earned this.
We got the Genji gloves, which is damage dealt to enemies by 5%, just a flat damage increase.
All in good
And
time, eh?
the last one is at 2850 and we're at
Come
2425,
again.
so
I'll
there
lay out
has
more
to be
for
some
ya.
new hunts available for us eventually.
I hear that you traveled to Ash, Sid.
I did indeed.
Did you by any chance recover the names of my fallen friends?
I did. Yes.
Wouldn't this be a twist if he was actually the guy who ran the place and just full of regret, and he had changed his mind when he decided to seppuku?
If I may? The bearer registry. The director was a brutal man. He got no worse than he deserved.
The registry was all I found beneath the tree. There was no sign of a body. Or any record of what happened to the children after the orphanage closed.
I pray that at least some of them survived. All their names are here. The ones we lost.
Make
My
a memorial.
friends. My light in those dark times. I can still remember their faces, like it was yesterday. Children who were taken from their bunks in the morning, never to return. No explanation ever offered.
They'd be happy to know that you survived, Herman.
But But why did I make it out alive when so many others died in that awful place?
It's not your fault. And blaming yourself won't bring them back. Honor their memory. See that their names live on. That way, at least. They're never truly gone.
Thank you. Sid, I'm going to write a book. An account of the horrors of Badbach, and the spirit of those its custodians sought to crush. All of Valisthea will know of our suffering, and in the name of those I lost, I will not let it happen again.
Neither will I.
These records would have been buried for all eternity, were it not for you. Thank you.
For all Barnabas's grandstanding on the corruption of men and how he had to put the stop to it all, he had orphanages just feeding people into the grinder because they were less than, because they could bear magic. Like he can, by the way. You'd think Eikons, who also have the crystal's gift, would be a little more understanding of bearers and their plight. Especially somebody who espouses that the world needs to end because of the way humans treat each other, as he has prisons and orphanages like we just saw in this episode. Barnabas was a hypocrite in that sense, blind to his own nation's corruption while he's so busy snuffing out the rest of the world's. He's a mindless orcs in his army, and I know Ultima didn't tell him to open that orphanage or those prisons, so you can't just hand-wave that away on Ultima. No, that's Barnabas' doing specifically. What do we have over here? Is this in relation to... Oh, right, we had to go speak to the book guy. Okay, then I guess we'll start next episode in the hideaway and we'll go speak to Harpocrates. So that is going to be a wrap for this episode, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, leave a like and a comment. If you want to support the cause and help improve the channel, feeling particularly generous, there is of course a tip link in the description below. Otherwise, stay tuned and I'll see you soon with more Final Fantasy. Take care everybody, have a great day.